And welcome to No Excuses. My name is Rodney and we are about to show you a different way to interview somebody. Today, my special guest is a number of people. Number one is my father. He passed away. He's in heaven looking upon us right now. But this is all about him. It is my story. His story has a lot of equals and parallels. And number two, I want to say thank you to so many of our guests who've been on my TV show and my radio show. So for starters, I want to introduce my father. His name is Vincent Arbona. Thank you for being here, Dad. And let me just say a little bit about my father and who he is, as my father is born and raised in Puerto Rico. He came to this country when he was about 18, 19 years old. And in doing so, talk about no excuses. With little money he did have, even growing up in Puerto Rico, he found a way when he got here to obtain employment and put his youngest brother, through med school. So it was one of those things that it fits in perfectly with how our show is of no excuses. So Dad, thank you for that and all the examples that you just set. So I'm going to go into a few things on top of that as well. I'm going to tell some stories that you and I have shared, some funny. Usually they were funny. And I want to also ask your help where we're going to thank a number of our guests. And I'm going to go into why I started this show of No Excuses, which I just mentioned a moment ago. Importantly, the reason why No Excuses got started is because I wanted to inspire people. I've met so many people who got a little bit in their way and just couldn't figure out how to get out of it. One of the ways I figured it out is my dad always speaking to me, even when he wasn't with us. He always gave me great words of wisdom, and I appreciated that. I've always heard his voice. One of the great pieces, Dad, that you gave me was always do things right the first time. Because if you did it wrong the first time, it's going to take you 2 to 3 times longer than if you would just did it right the first time. So I've been hearing that whisper in my ear for so many a year. And I wanted to share that with our folks and everybody who's been our audience and our guest as well. Part of No Excuses is, let me introduce myself. As you know my name, but we grew up in Sunnyside, New York City, in a 1-bedroom apartment. I have 2 other brothers. And yes, you can imagine 3 boys in 1 bedroom. It was a rumble from time to time, but you know what? It brought us close together. I can't say there's no measurement of love I have for my 2 other brothers. My mom is still with us, thank God. And of course, my dad. That was just a very close-knit family. So we enjoyed our time. And of course, nothing's ever smooth. All families have their challenges, and we had ours. One of our challenges was all 3 of us trying to get to school all at the same time. 1 bathroom. So you imagine 3 boys all using the bathroom at the same time. So it was like a basketball game. A lot of elbows were getting thrown. I want to also say to a number of folks, starting with one of the folks who got me involved in all this, and I'm going to go down some thank yous, starting with Deborah Kofer, a dear, dear friend of mine who got me involved in this by meeting her in a little town in Pennsylvania called Shawneetown, Delaware. And how we met was in this little general store where people actually get to purchase food, sit down and eat, and they can do a little shopping, from gloves to scarves to bacon, eggs, milk, you name it. Just a little bit of everything. From a distance, I heard a very interesting conversation she was having with a lady. And after about an hour of listening to their conversation, I wanted to give them my thoughts and input to what they were discussing. So I introduced myself, and Deborah was extremely acceptive, and along with the other lady, Roseanne, who was there. And we spoke for about 2+ hours. And how this all got started was because of her getting me on radio. She mentioned to me that, Rodney, after writing 5 books, I find you are very diverse in a number of different conversations and topics. So I'd like you to talk at the university, which is East Stroudsburg University. So at that point, it was the opening of the door. So Dad, you know what? You were one of those folks who you kept a lot of knowledge to yourself. So I guess sharing your knowledge through me with other people. So I'm going to mention a little story that you and I've had a number of laughs on. When I was a kid, my dad regiment was having cereal in the morning. And as a little boy, I found a location that sold spoons with a clear cover over the spoon so the cereal would not stick to it. And I have to tell you, it was one of the funniest things you and I shared, and one of the few times, I should say, you laughed so hard there was tears rolling down your eyes. As much as I know you were pretty much a serious guy for the most part, you did a great job of setting an example for us, but that was one fond memory I have of the two of us sharing. Another person I want to say thank you to, who's been on my show, both my radio show and my talk show here on TV, is Danielle Nigerian, a wonderful actress with a heart of gold. And I have to tell you, she's taught me a number of different things. I'm a person who's coming into this industry just this past March. And I have to tell you, I was very wet behind the ears. And Danielle spent the time with me to get me to understand what it's like to be in front of camera. Also, the type of questions I should be asking our guests. That, unfortunately, you don't count. You're part of the family. And how to go through the transition of asking questions to make sure I met all the type of questions that the guests would like to hear, and, of course, making sure they get the opportunity of speaking. Another person that I'm very thankful for is a gentleman named John Thomas. He, too, has been on my television show here, and I can't thank him enough for such a true gentleman. And it's 2 times he's been on the show. And in both occasions, he expressed so much care and desire for everybody he gets involved with. He is a talent manager. And during his time of managing people, he literally has hundreds of people who want his attention. But there's a guy who never really turns his back on anybody. He takes the time to get to understand them as best he can, and he takes the in-depth approach of knowing who they are as people and their heart of people, knowing that he's going to be involved with the right people. And I have to tell you, he is such a true man right from the beginning. The first day I met him, I had no clue who he was. He introduced himself as a true gentleman, and he did say to me, I'd like to talk to you about some opportunities when you get a chance. And this was at a big event. He did find me later on, and we did chat, and there's another reason why. And you'll find out that John also cast me in an upcoming show called Up on Sugar Hill. So I'm very honored and delighted that he even thought of me of it, and he gave me my first opportunity, and he also coached me very well. Hey, Dad, how about another story? There's one, and it's Christmas time, and that's one thing I want to mention as well. I know during this time of year, we all have somebody in our lives that are not physically with us, as my dad. But there's one thing I could assure you, spiritually, he's definitely been with me for all the years since he's gone. It's been 16 years now, and I don't think there's a week, not every day, but not a week that goes by where I don't hear you giving me advice. And every bit of that advice has helped me through each part of my transitions in life. And we've all had transitions. I've had many different careers. I've spoke to you, as you know, on all of them. And your advice was always on point and giving me the right path to choose to make sure, number one, I was enjoying myself, which you taught me that. And number two, the greatest lesson I think of all was understanding how to be responsible to myself. And that was one thing I think, unfortunately, most people today are missing. So thank you for that, Dad. We're going to go introduce some more people. How's that? There's a cast of team from Blue Iron Productions. They were on this TV show. They have an up-and-coming series. I won't give that name because I have an NDA because it's not completely bought. But there's 4 gentlemen and 1 lady. Chris Adams, who's the producer. James Smith, one of the actors. Hank Molesky Jr., also one of the actors. Tina DeVito, who actually put me in front of most of these people because of an invite through social media and a red carpet event that she introduced me to, and I got to meet most of these people. And last but not least, the biggest pain in the neck, Frank Mancuso. I'm only kidding, Frank, but you know how to throw that in. 4 gentlemen. walking down the street, you would think they could break bricks with their fist, because they probably can. But when you get to know them, each one of them are big teddy bears. All complete, big-hearted guys. I can't thank each of you enough for the conversations we've had privately, each one of you, and of course the group conversations we've had. And as well, I want to thank Chris for having me on his production and actually coaching me. Acting's all new to me. Being in front of the camera is new to me, but I have to tell you, all the advice I'm getting from everybody has humbled me and made me very honored to be involved. So Dad, let's get into another story, because this is getting to be some fun. One story I know that you always appreciated is the fact that coming from Puerto Rico, I never heard it, but my friends always heard an accent from you. And we always used to say we kind of grew up like I Love Lucy show. You being Ricky, of course, and Mom being Crazy Lucy with her red hair. But there was one funny time, one of my friends, as you gave me some things to do, my friend looked at me and he said, "I didn't know you understood Spanish." And when I told him I didn't, he goes, "Well, your dad just said something in Spanish." And I said, "No, that was English." And it's funny, growing up, hearing you, I never heard an accent. But it's funny, from people who never heard an accent before, they thought that was an accent. So we had a great laugh during that time as well when we shared those thoughts. So I appreciate your humor and understanding that that's all it was. So let's get into some more of my guests and my why. I have to tell you one little thing about, I speak to many people on Facebook from around the world, and I do get involved in in-depth conversations with them. I want so much to inspire as many people as I can and help them get through their challenges. But there's one particular note I'm going to share with each of you today, and I'm extremely touched by this one. But I have to say, this note that I received was really created by everybody. From all the responses and all the likes and all the comments that I've gotten on the No Excuses Facebook page and my website, noexcuses.show. And this note came to me from an individual. I won't mention any names because they asked me not to. And it said, "Rodney, you've given me so many smiles on my tougher day. Without even knowing, your friendship came to me with many fun things to talk about, a little education and music, and modern dress style, and just some smiles and laughs for nothing particular at all. So if I can return this with warmth, with a smile on your first bite, then I am happy when you said you would eat anything my hands touched. I thought I'd let you just fatten you up, just a bit during the holidays." Well, this person sent me a package of food. It was very delicious, but more importantly, that she took the time to write something that touched my heart. I then took this and posted it on Facebook, and I can't tell you how many positive and heartwarming responses I got from this one note. So folks, it just goes to show you, it just takes a very brief moment of your time to brighten up somebody's day. I encourage everyone, when you go through the streets, as you're going through your day, and you're going through doors, even if something is holding open a door and smiling at that person as they walk through. Even if they don't smile back or say hello, it's just because they're caught up in their own little world and they don't understand what they're missing out. So don't change who you are. Find that moment to make a person smile. And if you can, at least once a day. It does make a difference. And it will start an amazing chain reaction of such great energy. And I've seen it myself. As I've done things with people, I watch them in a distance and they repeat it. And that's I think, one of the greatest rewards that I get when I see somebody enjoying their life from either the words or the emotions or the touch or the smile that I've shared with them. I'm going to go into some more of our guests. Gentleman named Yaron Yerbis was here, and what an amazing story. Gentleman who was very successful in technology, woke up one day and said, "I want to be an actor." But what I love about his story is not just that. It's that he took the proper time to sit down with his family to make sure they would be okay with it and that they would be taken care of, that they were not going to miss a beat in their normal lifestyle. And that's very difficult for most people. Most people rather just react on what they want to do and then do a Band-Aid approach if something doesn't go right. Hey, Dad, let me say one other thing. You know, I can't begin to appreciate everything you've done. And doing this today, I know it seems weird, but it's just allowing me to open up from the happiness you've given me. This time of year, especially with Christmas, one story I like to share with everybody. I love the fact that you were adamant to take movies. In my days, you know, movies came with lights, basically floodlights on either side of the camera, motion 8s. And of course, as kids, we were more interested in opening up our presents. But you know what? It was your persistence to, even though we didn't understand then, it was your persistence, I should say, that made us enjoy it. We got through it. We had laughs with it, and now we look upon it, and it's just a memory I'm sharing with my kids, and I'll soon be sharing with my grandkids. So I want to thank you for that, because you know what? There's no way of expressing to somebody those type of memories without seeing it on film. So that's one thing I think everybody should think of as well. Another person I want to discuss is Laurel Wiley, a wonderful, amazing actress. But here's her most amazing story. This lady is a 4-time cancer survivor. And rather than just saying, I'm going to deal with my pain, my misery, and my treatments, she started a charity. Go to my website, noexcuses.show, and you'll see the charity there. And what she does is she finds ways of getting musical instruments into people's hands who have cancer. Because we all know music is a wonderful healer. And she's found this charity, and she's doing a magnificent job. And I can't thank her enough for still being my friend, as each one of these people are that I mentioned. And finding the time, even in her most difficult days, she still sends me a little text message, even as today as we speak. Hey, Rodney, just to let you know, I've been going through some treatments. That's why I haven't reached out to you. It's been a little tough, but thanks for thinking of me, and keep in touch, and I'll let you know how I'm going as the time goes on. So talk about a no excuses lifestyle. She's one of those people I have to put very close to the top of the list, not me. The show's not about me, as you can tell. It's about how I can show you other people and what they're doing, because I know everybody watching this can do it as well, like my dad did and like my mom did together. Another lady I like to mention is Michelle Francescos, two ladies, excuse me, and Nancy Vasquez. They put together a movie, I should say, they created a movie called The Right to Live. It was about domestic violence. Very powerful movie. I encourage you to watch it. It's an absolute way of understanding what people go through and also how to escape it. And each of them told me about their private stories with that type of environment of domestic violence. And it brought a tear to my eye. They were on my radio show. They expected to be on for about an hour, and basically they took up almost 2 hours, from top to top, because they had so much to share, so much wisdom. And you would think in that type of environment, how much wisdom can you really have? But you know what? There is wisdom to share, how to get through something like that. So I encourage you to take a look at that movie, The Right to Live. It was very powerful. Hey, Dad, I got something else. You know, this whole time in my life, I never really got to completely understand all the Spanish words. And I know now it's kind of difficult for you to tell me what they were. But there was a number of times, just like I Love Lucy, when you got upset with Mom, you would talk in Spanish. So if there's some way you can send me a signal of what those words are, even if it's not now, on my drive home, just make sure it's not so funny that I drive off the road, because it's supposed to be a little dangerous driving home tonight. But I look forward to it, because I have to tell you, you guys should have been the show, because it was more of you than them. But it was pretty funny watching every time you two got into your little spiffs, and neither one of you were listening to each other. You talking Spanish and Mom talking English, and the three of us just watching in pretty much humor. But thank you. It was a great time to see. As I continue through that, of course, I got to thank my family. Once again, my two other brothers, my mother, my 3 kids, love them dearly all. I have 2 sons and a daughter. Of 2 of them, they've given me a total of 3 granddaughters. One just born a couple of weeks ago, so I'm very proud of a grandfather. And they're part of my heart and soul, and of course my spine, along with many of you. Your messages that I get from you through Facebook, through my email, through my website, all mean something to me. I apologize, I don't get the time to respond to each of them. I do my best, but don't give up. Send me a message. I'd be more than happy to continue a private conversation with you as well. I want to continue on with some friends at this point. Elliot Wexler, Joe Seagraves, 2 gentlemen I've known for over 10 years now, and during some of my financial challenges not too long ago, they were by my side. They made me and continue to make me feel like a true gentleman. So I want to thank them very much. One thing, folks, I want to ask you, get out of your comfort zone. That's the way it's going to happen. And I have 2 people to thank, along with everybody at Manhattan Neighborhood Network. I want to thank Margarita and, of course, my dear friend, Cedric. Thank you, too, so much for everything you do. I know you do so much behind the scenes, more than I could even imagine. Just what little I do see when I go back there. Thank you, my friend. When I go back to that room, thank you. When I go back to the room and see everything on those boards, it touches my heart because this show always looks fantastic. And I know it's not me. It's every one of you, what you behind the scenes. Thank you so much. You're all a blessing. Thank you. Merry Christmas.
Okay. Thank you.
Merry Christmas.
I'm sorry and congratulations, brother.
Thank you.
You know that we love you so much.
Love you too.
I have you in Facebook Live.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
I record you too in the other scene.
Awesome.
So I'm going to send you later, but right now it's in live.
Oh, thank you so much, my friend.
You know,
I appreciate it.
That's a good guy, man.
Thank you. And folks, there's so many more I need to mention. I don't even know where to begin. The list goes on and on. But I have to tell you, stay positive. Understand the importance of eating healthy because that's part of your positivity. I'm going to go down a bunch of names. Louis Gomez, Norman Weinstock, Amy Mittman, Anastasia Verkos. Of course, I got Brian Vernick, Mike Marino, Billy Langella, Steve Muscatello, Joe Gowallis. I mean, the list goes on and on. One lady I got to mention is Nancy Roden. Here's a lady who her soul is so deep. She spends so much time making sure every one of our fallen police officers are taken care of. I went to an event that she hosted. There was literally 300-400 people in a parking lot. This police officer, unfortunately, has been gone 14 years. She does not let anybody forget this gentleman and his family. And it's amazing how great they've been taken care of because of her and because of everybody surrounding it. So these are the people who really make up such an amazing world that I've been touched by. Joseph D'Onofrio, Billy Sorvino, my cousin Kevin Constantine, who's been a great advocate in promoting me and helping me and being part of my spine as well. Dan Pincus, John Daly, Alan Lopez, longtime friends. I can't thank each of you enough. Another gentleman and his sister, Josh and Michelle Lerman. Josh has unfortunately got prostate cancer, but here's a man who did not say, I'm going to stop here. He found a process that is completely non-invasive, which we know that how important that is, and brought that to my attention, and that was his sole goal is, hey, Rodney, here's what I'm going through, but you know what? I found the solution, and can you help me get it out? So that was just an amazing man, and his sister who brought it to my attention as well. Laura Aganaga, Vera Moore, Lourdes Colon, another lady, 3-time cancer survivor, who again goes out and makes sure she's more concerned about other people than herself. You know, folks, I don't know where to end. I don't know where to continue, but I have to tell you, as you've seen, this is just the tip of the iceberg of how many people have touched me. I encourage you, please, go to my Facebook page, Rodney Arbona, and also No Excuses TV and radio show, and also our website, noexcuses.show. There's videos you can see there. On YouTube, you can go to Rodney Arbona. All these videos are up there as well, along with the radio interviews. So I'm very blessed that all these people have been so supportive. One thing I have to say, and I know everybody says to me, Rodney, you make it seem easy. It hasn't been. I raised 2 kids on my own when my kids were just 8 years old. I had kids when I was 18 and 19 years old. And you know what, though? I found a way. And within a very short period of time, at 24, I bought my first home. This is not to brag, folks. This is to inspire you. So if you're going through any type of challenges, and if you're having great success, share it. I encourage you to share it, because you know what? Every time you share your wisdom and your mind, 10 times those efforts come back to you. And that's how important it is. So I thank each and every one of you for listening. I want to say one thing. It is the holiday season. So be happy no matter how difficult it's been. Because you know what? Even though you might be going through financial or loss, there's a lesson in there. Don't look at the negative side. There's a positive side to it. And I know there might be some of my words are not resonating right now, but I promise you, I've been through it. If I've been through it and got through it, you can get through it. So follow your dreams, because there's one thing about your dreams, that's your mind and your soul talking to you. And how to make your dreams come true, it's your passion, your positivity, and your persistence. So have a blessed life. I look forward to you fulfilling your dreams, because I would love for you to be a guest on my show on No Excuses. Thank you very much for listening to me today. Dad, thank you very much. I love you. I miss you dearly. God bless each of you. Have a great, great New Year's. Your resolution, if you make one, write it down, because if you don't, I promise you it's just going to go to the wayside. Don't let anybody distract you of that resolution. Make that resolution happen and make it real. Don't make it something that it's impossible for you to achieve. Any resolution is a great one. Don't compare yourself to somebody else. If theirs is, you think is bigger than yours, that's their choice, and that's how life is. It's a choice. So make that resolution one that you know you can achieve, and it's going to be something that's going to make you happy. And here's one good thing to do every day, and I've learned this from a very, very successful gentleman. Every day, make your bed, because then you accomplish something. And when you get home at night and you see that made bed, you're going to be happy that you're jumping into a bed that's been made than one that's all a mess, because that's what you're going to feel like your life ended up, as a mess. So don't let it. Again, it's positive processes, and you will experience each and every one of them. And I thank you once again. This is No Excuses. My name is Rodney Arbona. God bless you all. Have a beautiful holiday season.